I gotta do it. Oh, Isiah Thomas. Oh man. I hate I have to do this, but I got to. He came out and said that Scottie Pippen and Toni Kukoc could have had enough to win titles without Michael Jordan. Everybody actually. Oh, I'm gonna tell you something. Z, hey, you're funnier than Kevin Hart, which don't take a lot. You're funnier than Cat Williams, which don't take a lot. You're funnier than Dave Chappelle, which don't really take a lot because he's storytelling. You're funnier than Mike Epps, which don't take a lot. You get where I'm going with this? Man, you either was drinking something, snorting something. You're funny. Nick Wright must got like a video of you or something. Somebody got some tape on you to say this stuff. No. No, 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 no. Scottie Pippen couldn't even stand Toni Kukoc. Scottie Pippen had his shot in 2000. If he beats when Shaq was at the apex of his powers, with Phil Jackson and a young Kobe coming up with a 67 win Laker team, and he goes and beats the Pacers with Larry Bird as a coach and Reggie Miller, we're talking about Scottie Pippen as a top 5 player, maybe 4. As to Scottie Pippen today, who's in the 34 to 44, 45, 35 to 45 slot. That's how big that 2000 was. I'm not going to include the Rocket one because he was too old with Barkley and all that was old. But that Blazer situation with a puppy when Rasheed was a pup and Damon Stoudemire and Sabonis and Jermaine O'Neal was a pup on that bench, and you blew a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter at Staples when Shaq was scarier than scary. When Shaq was one of the 2-3 greatest seasons that you've seen in modern times of dominance. And you didn't get it done. And it was downhill. I ain't trying to hit it. And as far for old Toni Kukoc, who was herky-jerky, bigger version of Ginobili, but not the impact. Better overseas, not the impact. Because his career wasn't much with the Sixers with Iverson. And he was a quicker picker-upper, meaning off the bench and playing a dual role. Well, how were they going to win, Isiah? How were they going to win titles? How? What gave you the incentive that they would beat Utah? Now, against the Knicks with the phantom call the phantom call when the Knicks beat them, they weren't winning nothing. Do you remember what happened in 95 to Jordan came back? They were bottom feeder. Scottie was pointing to the Jordan shoes. Please come back. Scottie was like, please come back. We suck. Come back. Jordan looked old with that number 45. He started look 45. And then he was doing like a Billy D. Williams Colt 45. They got their butt handed up because, they was calling him old. They had to go get the 23 back. Wasn't enough. Horace Grant got hosted off. What was about Pippen and Kukoc that you saw that said, oh, they were going to win titles, Zeke? What were they going to do? Now, there is hate and then there's lunacy. Make it make some sense. Because it's like ridiculous. I will say this. If Scottie Pippen had you for a teammate, y'all win. Toni Kukoc had you for a teammate, he'd be better player. But you needed Michael Jeffrey Jordan to win. Who are you kidding? Scottie's back give out. He was not going to beat no Utah. Kukoc wasn't either. Karl Malone would have feasted on them if Jordan ain't there. Okay? He'd have had 2 rings. Who are you kidding? You might not even get to the finals. You don't beat the Pacers without Jordan in 98. I can tell you that. Let me think. 97 with the Heat. You might have beaten with Tim Hardaway. You might have. But you don't beat the Pacers in 98. You don't win. Go up against the Sonics in the finals without Jordan. The size, that would have been close because George Karl shoot that 3-ball too much. That could have been an iffy. That's an iffy. But it would have gone 7. Well, that's an iffy. And Scottie didn't really play that well. I thought Kukoc did have a great series. I thought Kukoc, Ron Harper, Rodman won 2 of those games in that finals. So you might have a leeway against that Sonics team because George Karl was in love with that three ball. Sam Perkins was shooting too much. I know Hershey Hawkins, they thought they did something when Nate McMillan and them started to, Gary on get Jordan and all that. You got blowed out in one game. I don't know. I don't know. That's a questionable series we're talking. I don't know. But I do know one thing to shut Isiah down. Pippen and Kukoc ain't being beating no Karl Malone and Stockton in no finals. You're not beating the Pacers to get to the finals without Jordan 98. That you can bank on. You might have gotten one nudge. I don't even think you would have. Because I'm going to say something real since Isaiah's talking to Lulu. You ain't beating Orlando. Shaq Penny and Nick Anderson was going to have barbecue chicken without Jordan there. They were going to tear your behind up. They would have ran the East. They probably don't break up. If I go by the Delulu that Isiah Thomas has put, how you going to beat Orlando when Shaq was running like Giannis and Petty was healthy and Nick Anderson was hitting shots, 3D was hitting shots? Who you going to beat? How you going to get out of that East? But I'll play along, go along. Maybe you get out and that Seattle series could go either way. You ain't beating Utah them 2 years. You ain't beating Karl Malone and Stockton and Hornacek. You ain't winning the back-to-back. You ain't beating the Pacers. So, in other words, Isiah Thomas talking that Delulu talk. Because to be honest with you, 3 years without Jordan in the comeback, they may not make it to the finals. I might give them one potential chip. They ain't winning more than that. And they not beating Orlando or the Pacers to get there. You can quote me on that. So I would love Isiah Thomas. I'm not going to go to X and he wants to see the video. He can come back to me. I want to know how you going to beat Orlando with Shaq and Penny back then and Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott. And how you going to beat the Pacers in 98 when Reggie and them and the Davis brothers and them. How you going to beat them and Mark Jackson? How you going to beat them with Mullen? How you going to beat them with Scottie and Toni? Make it make some sense, Zeke, because you sound ridiculous with this one. And then I'm thinking, because I had to do some thinking on this one. Maybe you get by the Heat in the East with Tim Hardaway. Because they are him and Zoe. But Kukoc and Pippen? I'm done.